just turned it off. I'm sorry. Okay, so how this is going to work, I'm going to have a roaming microphone. If you've got a question, unless you could probably have some questions ahead.
I'll start it off. I'll get the ball rolling so everybody gets the question asked.
Open. I will be the one finding you, so wait until I get there. Don't shout it out, because nobody else can hear what you're saying. Okay, I'm going to get off the stage.
Should we get some chairs? It's kind of weird, because there's a height difference.
No, that's fine. It's fine with me.
It's not fine with me. I have to slouch.
All right, let's use that. You're still going to be sitting taller than me.
It's a little more. There's like an illusion.
It's all right.
Yeah. I can just sit lower in the chair.
Thank you. No, first of all, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. What a nice.
So, this film is, those of you who, I'll stay for the end credits, you saw a name at the end, Alex Ross Perry. That's the name of the director of this film. In my opinion, a very, very talented filmmaker. This is his third film. And I was wondering if you could tell our audience here about how you came on board with this, how this came together.
Well, I received the script through my agent, the usual channel that happens through, and with it was this DVD of The Color Wheel, his previous
second feature.
And
very good film.
the script was, my reaction to reading the script was probably what your reaction was to watching it, which is, in the beginning, pretty stunned and kind of like uncomfortable and claustrophobic for sure. At the beginning, I was very, it was curious. This character was curious to me, and in fact, after 35 pages, I put it down because I was like, this feels. I might need to walk around for a second. And about 30 minutes after I put it down, I couldn't stop thinking about these characters and what they were doing. So I picked it up and I read, let's say, 15 more pages, and then I said, no, this is just too abrasive. I need another break. And I did that off and on for about 10 hours. And then I finished it. And I loved it. I loved it at the end, and then I started to laugh a lot when it was over. It was kind of like a relief, and I had to meet him. I had to meet the screenwriter and director of this movie, and so much care had gone into the script. It was so well written, and I wasn't sure what the deal was of the two of us meeting. I didn't know if he was meeting with tons of actors. Or a few actors, or what the options were, but we went and had dinner in New York City. I was there, and I guess for me the main thing was I felt that it was such a great part and it was a great movie, but I didn't think, I knew that I wouldn't be able to be in this movie without his help or the help of the director in a way that I really would need more than ever in a way. It was super complicated and it was such a big script, and my feeling was I don't have the skill to do this alone. And I need to have an exchange with this person, and it needs to be like a good rapport. And so meeting him, I was really nervous. I was hoping that it would be great. And we met for dinner in the restaurant. They told him that they didn't have new tables, it would be a 20-minute wait. And he muttered something under his breath that was something like maybe Philip would say. And it just made me laugh so much. And I thought to myself, God, I hope this works out. I hope that we can make this movie together, because that guy who just said that line, that needs to be my friend. And we ended up having this great dinner and talking all about it, and it was like a date. I describe it as like a romantic date, and it really felt that way, because I was kind of like I really felt he was saying everything I wanted. It was great in describing this movie, and I was kind of like daydreaming about us making this movie. And then we went and had a drink, and then while we were having this drink, he brought up this ice cream place. And I said, I've never been. I heard it's great. You've never been? And then, it was. And then he said, well, let's go now. They closed at 11, so we ran over. We got ice cream. And I was like, how's yours? He's like, it's good. Do you want to try it? And how's yours? It's great. You should try it. And we walked home. And during this, both of us at some point during this evening had to call our significant others and tell them, that we were late, running late. I was like, I'm sorry, this is much. I'm having ice cream, and it was kind of like, what? My wife was, curious as how I made so much time, and that's another discussion. But that's how it happened. And at the end of the night, the real moment that sealed the deal for me was Alex said, "So do you want to be in this movie?" And I was so happy to hear that because I wasn't sure, as I say, what the conditions were. And I said, "Yes, I would love to be in this movie. I mean, can we do that? Is it that easy?" And he said, "Yeah, I would love it. In my mind, you're one of 2 people that can play this part." And
did he ever tell you who the other person was?
I found out later, but it was just such a weird thing to say. Because when he said that, he said, "You're one of 2 people." And that moment when you get 2 pieces of information really quickly? Like, that's awesome, what? I walked home, I was like, who's the other person? Who's the other person? And it was on my mind forever. So anyway, that's the long version of that story.
My understanding was that you had a fairly collaborative process preparing for this film. You guys didn't really rehearse the film, but you worked on, you discussed the script for several weeks, just met every day prior to making the film.
True or false? That's true.
You can tell these wonderful people a little bit about them and maybe ask them some questions.
Basically, as I say, this script, if I could just show you in size, if most scripts are this thick, this was this thick. So it was just full of all of this detail, and it was very complex. And I moved to New York about a month early. I live in Los Angeles, and I moved there about a month early, and the hope was just to be with Alex and to be near him, because I really think that as close as you can be to the production, the better, especially when it's someone who's written this and is going to direct it and clearly has a whole way that they think and talk, and he's a very specific person, Alex, and he thinks in a very specific way. And for me, as close as we could get to each other, the better in terms of knowing what kind of things make us laugh, what do we have in common, what can we show each other. And to me, what that does is sort of narrow down things so that when we get to set, I already sort of know what our limits are, kind of, you know what I mean? What kind of things does he gravitate to, what's his taste, and you just get to know each other. And so he gave me a month of his time. He came over every day, and we would read through the script or get through as much of it as we could. And we would talk about it. We would ask each other questions about it. We would go for walks. We would watch movies. The date continues. And
this is a relationship.
It became a romance. It was intimate. And rehearsing, we never really acted the scenes out. But I would say to him, I would ask just very sort of simple questions when Philip says this, is this true? Or is this a lie? What does Philip mean by this? And the greatest revelation that came out of these meetings was that I said, we would talk about abrasiveness and how far can you take a character like this until it becomes totally repellent. And any discussion or experiment with the idea of maybe making him sympathetic or nicer by adding a line that was funny, it actually seemed to backfire and only make the character worse because it made him passive-aggressive. And I think the revelation was that this character is so great because he really just says what he's thinking, and he's not putting a smile on anything or patching things up. He's very honest, and he doesn't give a damn about what you think of him. And that was the key revelation. So it really became not about trying to make a person likable. It just became about hopefully trying to make a movie that was fascinating or compelling in some way. And this behavior is not behavior that I could get with. So it was sort of trying to understand. I would ask him. I was thinking earlier. I would ask him hypothetical situations because I was so confused by the character. I'd be so if Philip walked into a room and I would set up like a fake situation, what would happen? And I always had like a version of what I thought, and I was always wrong. For like the first 2.5 weeks, I was always wrong, and then started to get a feel for it. So it was like kind of like games like that, and just trying to circle the character. And really, the main reason we did it was because we had a lot to shoot each day, and I just didn't want to start off with scenes like making a completely different movie and wasting time, because I don't want to waste. You can't waste time.
Speaking of time, it's time for questions from the audience. Where is Doug?